revised number of laps. Finally, we get underway with race 2 of round 3 of the 2021 Asia Talent Cup, the Indonesian round. For the second time of asking, we get underway. Fast start immediately from the number 21. The pole sitter Daniel Sharil has really made a break in the run down towards turn 1. They're practically 8 abreast further back in the pack. Furusato's made a good jump from the second row of the grid. That's Ferdaus as well, up into P3, I think, as early as turn number 1. So a train of riders now from second position back. But the key story of the first bend, Furusato making immediate progress.
Yeah, Ferdaus with a good start as well. Looks like Hongo's up there in the leading positions as well. Carter Thompson on the number 6 machine, converting his converting his front row start into a top 5 position as well. So everyone able to make it through those first couple of corners cleanly. We did see one rider running out wide through that opening corner, but everyone cleanly through.
Yes, so Herjan Ferdaus, who came home in 10th place in race 1, his first appearance of this 2021 season, is now taking the fight to the championship leader. And Furusato is going to have at least one bike between himself and the man that he'll aim to beat if he is to take the title here today. Pulling away out in front, then it's Daniel Sharil from Ferdaus in second position, the number 10. Then it's the number 15, the championship leader Furusato. Hongo, who completed the front row of the grid. Masaya Hongo, the 17-year-old from Japan, is directly behind them. A little bit of liberties being taken there on the outside of the circuit. Hongo just being picked off by Gun Mie, who recovers 4th position successfully. Furusato getting back on terms with Ferdaus now, and Mie following him through. Hongo's been relegated down to 5th position, but the main loser of the opening lap has been Carter Thompson from P2 down to P7. A little bit of rubbing in the top 5 positions. They're only costing one another time at this stage.
Yeah, and certainly at the front of the field, Daniel Sharil has to take advantage of any scrapping that goes on behind him. He's been able to open up a pretty good lead on the opening lap. We'll see if the likes of Furusato is able to close down that 7/10 of a second.
Ferdaus was the rider to lose out.
Big ask from him to try and open up a gap. As it is, you'd expect to see the top 3 in the championship battling it out all the way through till the end of this race.
Yes, the Indonesian spectators may well be hoping for a little bit more fighting at the head of the field, because they've got a couple of their riders in that secondary group. You can see it in the background of the shot, and they all come through together. Ferdaus in 4th position, all the way down to Sharil in 10th place, are covered by just a second. So very little to choose between them. I should emphasise that's Sharil I'm talking about, down in 10th position, not to be confused with Daniel Sharil, who's that man at the back of this trio at the head of the field.
Yeah, I usually find it confusing enough in the ATC, but at the front of the field, not too confusing for Furusato. He's doing exactly what he did in yesterday's race. Keep himself at the front of the group and let everyone else try and attack you. We saw in yesterday's races, he had no problem taking big looks over his shoulder, just understanding who was in the group, what he had to do. When he needed to get his head down, he got his head down.
And Mie in the early stages was able to take the fight to him, was able to fight his way through down the inside at one stage. First incident of the race. We did say that yesterday was pretty action-packed, and it looks as though race 2 is going to follow that trend. First rider down in the gravel trap, and we're going to see exactly what happens. It's the number 25. That's Pratama, Veda Pratama, who has gone down, just chasing. It looked like he was pushing as hard as he can. He's a relative newcomer. He's the youngster that we were talking about earlier on, just 12 years of age. Finished 8th position in race 1 yesterday. He chased perhaps slightly offline, through on the inside, and was the odd one out of that trio. Yeah,
we saw that he was battling it out, just trying to move himself up close enough to the points-paying positions. As it is, it's Tom Drain in 15th in the final points-paying position here.
Back with the leaders then. Furusato out in front, just 0.2 of a second now covering the top 3. They've gradually bunched up. Who's going to be the first to have a go at Furusato? He's having things all his own way at the moment. That might not be the case for much longer. Mie's got a really good run as they come through the 7-8-9 complex and now in towards turn 10. Yesterday's riders contesting 4th position. Carter Thompson actually just getting back through now on Ferdaus for P4. Running wide coming off turn 6 was Daniel Sharil. That's left him with a little bit of a margin to find on Gun Mie, but Mie gets down the inside of Furusato, moves across his path in towards turn 10, and if that's what it takes to get it done, says Gun Mie, then that's exactly what I'll do. Furusato with a good look over his shoulder, knows that Sharil is directly behind him, but with Furusato out in front, if he were to stay there, it still wouldn't be enough with Gun Mie out in front, it still wouldn't be enough to take the title down to another race, because Daniel Sharil is directly behind as well.
And you can see here with the championship leader Furusato, we'll see if he's able to try and be aggressive on the run down in towards the last corner to see if he can try and make a move back into the race lead.
Yes, I got my words in a twist there. This is the live championship, and that'll explain it possibly better than I just did. Basically, I was saying that Furusato, if he finishes second behind Mie, who's also in contention, a similar number of points to Daniel Sharil, then we would still go into the third race of the weekend here this afternoon. 3 laps to go then. Furusato out in front, 3/10 covering your lead trio, as it has been for the majority of this race, to be perfectly honest. Furusato back in front, and Daniel Sharil, his closest points rival, stuck down in third. Gun Mie's been the more pugnacious of the two over the last lap or so.
I was getting a bit confused with my championship standings as well. So certainly for Furusato, the easy target is win the race, win the championship, and he's doing exactly that once again. He's opened up another couple of tenths of a second, but we've seen in this sector of the track, this is where the number 5 of Gun Mie is very fast and able to bridge that gap. But we also know Daniel Sharil in yesterday's race had that edge in the closing stages. He needs to get through into second spot to see if he's able to take the fight to Furusato.
Furusato is your leader. Mie then in second position. We've seen most of the moves in the Asia Talent Cup this weekend, and also most of the crashes in towards turn number 10. They're 3 abreast this time around. Furusato on the 15 on the out, hitting his way towards victory. 1 to go.
Yeah, really important for Furusato just to think about where he can defend on the run in towards turn 10. He has been stronger everywhere else around this track all the way through this weekend. He's going to force Sharil to go around the outside into turn 1.
Daniel Sharil, who was more than 3/10 of a second faster than Furusato, the race leader last time around, gets around the outside into turn 1, and Furusato eases him out, and then there's a bit of a moment for Daniel Sharil coming through the first turn. He's going to have to work harder than he ever has if he wants to beat Furusato, the man of the moment.
Yeah, super riding from Furusato. Forced Sharil to go the long way around the outside then to start-finish straight in the run into turn 1. He's going to have to try and do something similar on the run into turn 10 as well. That's Sharil's best chance to make the move.
We saw Sharil was willing to make the move wherever he could. Yes, no big moment there for Gun Mie, and he's gone out onto those big serrated curbs on the outside line as well. So that rules him out of a fight between these top two, because there's 0.6 of a second already between second and third positions, and Gun Mie's got it all wrong there on the final lap. He holds on for a podium position. Sharil to the outside line then as they come in towards turn number 10. Tries to go the long way round. He'll now switch it back. It gives him the inside line for turn 11. Daniel Sharil has thought about this in advance, but he's not quite alongside. Furusato defends the position through turn 12, where Daniel Sharil passed Furusato here yesterday. These two have swapped and changed. There were 8 thousandths of a second across the last timing point between the two of them. Sharil gets nerfed to the inside. He takes that as his opportunity, as his call to arms into turn 13, and comes through. Then Furusato recovers it coming through turn 14. It's a head-to-head on the final lap that will determine whether we go to another race in the Asia Talent Cup for 2021, or whether we have just settled the series standings. One final sector to go. It's Furusato, the leader, on the number 15. It's Daniel Sharil, the pretender, on the number 21. I don't think he's going to be close enough coming off the final turn. It's a drag race down to the line. Furusato holds on, and Tayo Furusato claims the 2021 Asia Talent Cup with 2 races to spare.
I actually thought Furusato might have gone too defensive there in the final sector. Judged it to perfection. Really good race performance from him. Hongo takes 4th. Thompson's up inside the top 5 once again as the rest of the field comes through to claim the points-paying positions.
Yes, Thompson rounding out your top 5. Feardaus for Jeter, an isolated 7th position. Wakamatsu in 8th for Dilla. But it was all about the top 2 in the context of the championship. We had a very similar race